Entitled Mom Once Left Her Child to Wander Around a Strip Mall I Worked At. This story happened sometime between 2009 and 2010. In the fall, I was working at a pharmacy called CVS as a photo tech. Anyhow, I was doing some returns because it was a little slow when I heard a woman and her child, who was about 4, in the next aisle. The conversation went something like this. What are you doing here? You were supposed to wait in the car with, the man's name. Kid, he fell asleep, and I was scared, so I came to find you. Note, it's dark now as it is about 6 p.m. and it gets dark early this time of year. It was late fall or early winter. Go back and wait in the car. I am waiting for the pharmacy to get the order read. So the poor little boy walks to the front doors by himself. I was about to run and stop him and tell him he could wait with me when I got paged to the front. My coworker at the register saw the whole thing too and admitted he wanted to stop the kid but felt like he would get in trouble since he was a stranger. Well, we were next door to a Subway, and a few minutes later the manager there came over and said that a small boy had wandered in and that his mom was here shopping. He has the kid with one of his employees because he was worried if he wandered into the parking lot he may get hit by a car, and he bought him some chips because the child said he was hungry. I asked my coworker to watch the photo for a minute, and I am going to see if it is the same boy we saw leaving earlier and for him to patch for our manager. He agrees. I go next door and find the poor kid sitting with an employee and 2 other customers eating some chips, and I tell the Subway manager I know who his mom is and to come back with me. I didn't want him to overhear me talking about his mom, but once we get back to CVS, I tell him about the conversation I heard with him and his mom earlier, and he is appalled. The little boy had not said his mom told him to walk back to the car by himself, only that his mom was shopping next door. He thought he had just wandered away from his mom, as kids sometimes do. By now my manager is at the front of the store and asks the Subway manager if he has the name of a parent, and the Subway manager says no, so my manager just gets on the intercom and says, if there is a woman here with a son about 3, 4 years old, please come to the front. So the or was she a neglectful mom? Comes up front, and I whisper to my manager, that's his mom. She has an attitude and asks what we want. I noticed she already had her prescription order and was shopping for cosmetics at this point. The Subway manager explains that her son wandered into the Subway next door but that he was safe and was sitting with one of his employees. She scoffed and said something like, I told him to wait in the car with, male's name again. My manager said, I overheard that your husband fell asleep and wasn't watching his son. Maybe your son should stay with you? It's very dark in the parking lot right now, and he could have been hit by a car. The Subway manager said, he can stay with us for about 10 more minutes, but then my employee is going to go home, and I can't watch your son. I don't mind that he got a bag of chips on us. She paid for it for him, but please don't let it happen again. He could have been hit by a car. She snaps at them, saying that the man in the car is neither her husband nor his father and that she is a single mother and was trying to get her boyfriend's medication. This is no way to treat a customer, and she is going to call corporate. She starts using racial slurs and profanities until my manager gets fed up. My manager said, put down your basket and take your prescription that is paid for. Go next door and get your son, and then you have 2 options, go home or bring him in here and keep an eye on him. If you don't, I'm going to call the police, report you for neglect, and have CPS on you. I am a parent with 3 kids myself, and what you did was dangerous and stupid. He could have been hit by a car or abducted. You should be grateful this manager was nice enough to have an employee watch him, and she was nice enough to buy him a snack. I would have called the police. She complained about how she was never coming back, and he told her that if she did, she better have her son with her or she was calling the police. She did as she was told, and the Subway manager escorted her back to his Subway and politely walked her back to her car, where her boyfriend was dead asleep. He heard them arguing as she got her son in the car seat and drove them home. He came back to speak with me and my manager and told us about the scenario and that he regretted not getting her plate number because now he was worried about the kid, and he thanked my manager for putting her in her place.